I've been told by a fellow officer that you've been verbally abusive in a public place, which would be a Section 4A public order.
I have it all
offence.
recorded, officer.
That's fine. Please,
She's
officer.
lied to you. Now you threatened me with arrest, which has now made me have to give my details. So I will have to make a call to my solicitor.
When a sergeant decides the situation needs force, not facts. She claims he's sworn at her, something the footage doesn't support, and instead of dealing with him directly, she brings in other officers to act on that allegation. From that moment, the threat of arrest is used to extract his details, not to address any real offence. This becomes policing by allegation, not evidence, and it only runs one way. It doesn't end with officers proving a point, it ends with News Now Yorkshire taking them to court, because when a sergeant sets the tone with a false claim, the fallout is inevitable.
Is it for any particular purpose? Is it a hobby? Is it a research project? Anything like that?
I don't know yet at the minute.
Okay.
Just sort of flying around, see what happens.
Right. I understand an officer's just tried to have a word with you on the way into the car park.
She sort of shouted at me in a plain clothes personal car, so I didn't have a clue who she was.
Apparently you've told her to pee off.
Did I?
That's what she said to us. If that's the case, that's not acceptable, is it?
Well, that's why we wear independent witnesses that never lie.
Right. What do you mean by that? Right, okay. Well, yeah, I've got mine on as well, so...
Well, thanks for letting me know.
Can I take your details, just so we know what you're doing, and you're recorded on our systems, and we've got the fact what you're doing, and to make sure you're not to no good?
No, I'd rather not, if that's okay.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, I just need to make sure that you're not, like, sort of in line with any terrorist groups or anything like that you could be using for hostile reconnaissance or anything of that nature.
Do you suspect I'm a terrorist officer?
Well, I don't know until I speak to you. Do I? Until I take your details and check you through.
Is that what you do with everybody?
If you're being verbally abusive to people, then you have technically committed a public order offence, for which I would require your details.
Okay.
They moved toward him, already pushing a fixed narrative claiming he insulted the sergeant, and they present it as if it is proven from the start. News Now Yorkshire refuses to get dragged into a pointless exchange and instead cuts through the nose by directing attention to his body camera and clearly stating why independent recording is essential in moments like this. This instantly reveals the imbalance, because one side is relying on a verbal claim while the other holds recorded evidence that can be reviewed. The situation then shifts into something far more serious when his refusal to provide personal details is suddenly framed as a need to check for links to extremist groups. This claim does not stand as a valid reason and instead comes across as a clear attempt to apply pressure and force compliance beyond what is justified.
So that's why I'm asking you for them as well.
Right.
So could I have your name and date of birth and address, please?
What, you think I've committed a public order offence?
Yeah, because an officer's just told me that you've sworn at her in the street.
Well, I need to get her to make that statement then, because she's lying.
Well, she's just told me as she's driven in that you've sworn at her.
Did she?
Yeah.
Right, well, I'll be making a complaint about her then.
That's absolutely
And if you
fine.
take my details, I will have to sue West Yorkshire Police.
That's not a problem. You feel free to do so. The reason I've explained the reasons why I'm asking you for your details.
What happens if I don't give my details?
Then you're potentially committing an offence.
Well, I will.
It's a lot easier if you do, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to give my details.
Okay.
I will if you tell me that I'll be arrested if I don't.
Well, potentially you may be. Yeah, it may make your arrest necessary under Section 24 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, because your name and address can't be verified.
Right.
And I've got reasonable grounds to suspect that you've committed an offence.
What reasonable grounds is that?
But I've been told by a fellow officer that you've been verbally abusive in a public place, which would be a Section 4A public order.
I have it all
offence.
recorded, officer.
That's fine.
Do you want me to show you the recording?
Not at the moment, but I want.
Because I could show you the recording.
I want you to.
And then you would know.
Details, and I've explained it to you. You've asked me to explain it to you, and I've laid it out plain and simple.
This is the moment where the reasoning breaks down completely. They insist a public order offence has taken place not because of any clear action but simply because the sergeant states it as fact. When News Now Yorkshire asks what follows if he refuses to give his details, the response loops back on itself and claims he may have committed another offence which could then be used to justify arrest. That is not a lawful foundation and instead feels like repeated pressure being used to force compliance. The mention of Section 24 piece only highlights the weakness further, because the necessity for arrest cannot be based on rank A or ease and must be supported by real evidence. In this situation, the only support comes from a colleague's claim, even though video footage is available that could resolve everything within moments. They choose not to review it, and that choice carries weight because ignoring evidence that could clarify the truth instead a deliberate approach rather than a fair assessment.
I don't think I have to give my details, officer.
You do.
I do.
You've been verbally abusive towards somebody.
I haven't though.
She's alleging that you have.
I haven't
As
though.
I said before, I've got reasonable grounds to suspect that you've committed a public order offence.
But I haven't.
Okay, listen to me. Because of that nature, that's why I require your details. And
Right.
as I've explained to you, if you don't give me your name and address, and can't verify who you are, it may make your arrest necessary in order to ascertain those details.
Will you arrest me if I don't?
I'm not saying I definitely will, but I'm saying it may make your arrest necessary.
Am I being detained right now?
At the moment, because I need your details.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm being detained.
Potentially, if you don't give me your details, you may be arrested, is what
No,
I'm
no,
saying.
no, I just want to check if I'm being detained right
I don't
now.
understand why you can't just give me your details.
I'd rather not. That's
Right.
the point.
But I'm asking you to.
If I have to by law, then I will.
You do have to by law, yeah.
Okay, and what section of law says I
I'm
have
telling
to?
you that because you've committed an offence.
I haven't, though.
I suspect that you have.
You suspect that I have?
I suspect that you have. I
Okay.
only need reasonable grounds to suspect. That's 2 to 3 out of 10 on the scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I've got that reasonable suspicion.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. Can you let me know that lady's name or collar number?
So she's a sergeant who,
Yeah.
who was off duty at the time, coming into work for whatever reason. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
because
but she's a police
she's lied
officer.
to you. Now you
Right.
threatened me with arrest,
Yeah.
which has now made me have to give my details. So I will have to make a call to my solicitor.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, okay.
You go right ahead.
They close in around him and build a false sense of necessity by saying if they cannot identify him they will arrest him in order to identify him. That is not how lawful arrest hours are meant to function, and it shows a desire to obtain his details first and then shape the justification around that goal. Arrest should never be used simply to push past a refusal to cooperate, and it cannot be supported by a single untested suspicion. At this stage the so-called reasonable grounds lose any real meaning and appear driven by convenience, which is why the pressure begins to take effect. Faced with the risk of being taken in and a circular excuse, he provides his details to prevent the situation from escalating further. This action is not taken because the law clearly demands it but because the pressure has been structured in a way that leaves him with no realistic option. When compliance is produced through the threat of misused authority, it is not true consent but a form of submission and constraint.
I can't believe she lied to you, officer. I have got it all recorded though, just
That's
so you
fine.
know.
You can, if you want to make a complaint.
Yeah, I will
about
be
it,
making a complaint straight away. Yeah,
that's not a
definitely,
problem.
definitely.
I haven't got
Is that
any
what she
issue with
actually said to you? I told her to pee off.
As I drove out of the gate, she was driving in and she said, "Will I have a word with it with you?"
Yeah.
Because she'd spoken to you and you
Yeah.
told her to. I'm not going to say the full word.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
pee
yeah.
off. You understand what I mean by
I
that?
understand what you're saying, but she's lying to you. You know that, don't you?
Well, if she's lying to me, she's lying to me. If it's on your camera, then you've got grounds for a complaint. Then
Yeah,
haven't you?
100%. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not lying
yeah.
to you. I can only go about.
You know,
what
last
I've
time
been
this
told.
happened, I got £1,000 for it. You know.
Right.
Yeah, that was at Humberside though.
What was that? What was that in relation to though?
Because someone said I was committing antisocial behaviour, so the officer unlawfully used Section 50 of the Police Reform Act
Right.
to gain my details, just like
Right.
you've unlawfully used Section 5 to gain my details.
Okay.
And then they offered me £1,000 for my trouble.
I haven't used Section 5.
Oh, did you use?
You've potentially committed an offence under Section 4A of the Public Order Act.
Oh, okay. Section 4A.
Yeah.
And that
doesn't
requires
get-
me to give my details.
It doesn't require you to give your details.
You just
What
told
I'm-
me it did.
What I'm saying, no, you're twisting my word.
The officer keeps leaning on the word potentially and repeats it to suggest there might be an offence and in Section 4A, yet that single word carries the entire claim because nothing solid is presented. Section 4A does not apply based on a vague chance of causing offence at some point and instead requires clear intent and a real effect, not guesswork. What makes the situation more concerning is how the legal reference keeps shifting from one power to another and then to something else entirely, which signals uncertainty rather than careful assessment. If a genuine offence had been clearly identified, the legal basis would remain steady instead of changing direction. None of the powers mentioned in this shifting argument suddenly create an automatic right to demand his personal details, which further weakens the position being pushed.
What I'm saying to you is because I've got reasonable grounds to suspect that you've committed an offence.
Yeah.
If you don't give me your details,
Yeah.
it may make your arrest necessary under Section 24 of PACE.
Oh, okay.
Because your name and address cannot be verified.
Right.
And I suspect that you've committed an offence.
Well, that's the full explanation. Thank you for
that's
that.
what I said to you the first time.
Well, I didn't get that explanation,
Can
so maybe you
confirm-
didn't explain it
can you
properly, and maybe
confirm-
I didn't
Right.
understand.
Well, you understand it now, though.
I
don't you?
do,
Can you just
100%. Yeah,
confirm-
yes. I can't believe she lied to you, and she's a sergeant. She's going around lying to you guys. Do you want me to show you the video?
No.
Is it because you know that she's lying?
I don't know that she's lying.
I think you know. I think you know. I think you do know.
We're literally just going off what we've been told.
Yeah, what you've been told is a lie, though, is what I'm saying. I could show you the video now and show you that she's lying. What do you guys reckon? Your personal opinion.
My personal opinion doesn't matter. I don't
No.
work. My personal opinion has to stay at home when I come to work.
Well, use your detective skills then. What do you think?
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking to you. To
Well, yeah, I
find out
could have
your
showed you the video.
To find out your version of events.
No, you know what you're doing is getting my details unlawfully.
Okay. I'm not.
But
I've already explained to you the reason why.
I could have showed you the video, and then
fine.
you would have no reason to get my details.
If you're happy to show me the video, I'm happy to watch it. It's not a problem.
Well, there's no point now because you've already given my details.
This is the point where any sense of fairness falls away completely. He keeps offering the simplest solution, which is to review the footage, yet they refuse to do so. When officer openly states she is relying only on what she has been told, which shows there is no real assessment taking place. His account is not tested against available evidence and is instead dismissed, while second-hand claims are accepted over video that is ready to be viewed. They choose to protect a version of events that avoids challenge and continue forward without checking the most reliable source in front of them. Only after they secure his details does the footage suddenly become important, and that sequence reveals the true priority. If the video had genuine value, it would have been reviewed at the start rather than at the end. Leaving it until later is not a proper investigation, and instead looks like an attempt to manage the situation after the fact.
I might as well speak to my solicitor now and get my £1,000.
You've offered to show me the video, then that's fine.
Yeah. You see that your sergeant's a liar.
Well, show me it if you want to show me it. I'm not bothered.
Am I being detained?
No, you're free to go. Thank you for giving me your details. Just be careful where you're flying it.
No, I won't.
Obviously, bear in mind that side of the gate and the fence is private property.
Oh no, I've already been over there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go over again.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But bear in mind that you may be spoken to again by an officer if it's deemed that your drone's interfering with any police activities or anything like that.
All right, well, I've got permission to be here.
From
the Civil Aviation Authority.
Okay, have you got that in writing? Have you got anything on you can show me to confirm that?
Do I need to?
Well, I'm not just going to believe you, am I?
Well, I'm not just going to believe you that your sergeant's a liar.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to get drawn into this back and forth with you.
You've already been drawn into it.
I've spoken to you. I've ascertained what you're doing. As long as you're not interfering
what happened
with
to the
police
Section
activities,
4A?
That's fine. I'm not going to take any further action against it.
No further action?
Yeah.
Why? Because you know that she's a liar?
I'm going to give you words of advice.
No, I don't want your words of advice.
Right, well, I'm going to offer
you can stick your words of advice.
Right, I'm going to offer you them anyway.
No, I don't want them.
The moment they obtain his details, the entire situation comes to an immediate halt with no offense pursued, no action taken, and no further interest shown. Everything mentioned earlier about public aordan terrorism and legal sections fades away without explanation, which makes the shift impossible to ignore. If those claims truly held weight, they would not be dropped the instant his information was recorded, because real concerns are followed through, not abandoned. The speed of that change shows this was never about resolving a genuine issue but about confirming his identity. Once that objective was completed, there was nothing left to continue because no deeper action had ever been intended. The legal terms used beforehand were not part of a clear process but instead served as a method to apply pressure and steer the outcome.
I speak to people in future.
But I didn't speak to anybody in any. She's a liar. I never told her to pee off. She's an absolute liar. I will be making a complaint. Okay. I will be suing. Thank you very much. What's your details?
6468.
From the station?
Yep.
Your details?
290.
From the station?
Yep.
And her details?
She'll find those out for you. I believe her name's Sergeant Wiltshire, or Wiltshire, my apologies.
Sergeant Wiltshire?
Yep.
And her numbers?
I don't know them.
Well, I need her numbers.
I don't know them.
We'll have to radio through then.
I don't know them.
She's the one that made the complaint. I need to make a complaint about the lying sergeant.
Just ask to speak to Sergeant Wiltshire. She works on Team 4 Patrol South at Ellen Road. That's all you'll need.
Well, can't you just radio through and ask for her details?
No, because she's not actually on duty at the moment, because she was in, as you said, she was in a civilian car in a civilian clothing, so she's...
You could ring the control room and ask what her call number is.
I can't do that at the moment because I'm too busy, but you've got all the details.
But you weren't too busy to come and stop to talk to me?
Thank you very much.
Yeah? See you later, sausages.
I prefer bacon.
He makes it clear the matter is heading to court because the entire encounter was built on claims that did not actually occur. A sergeant alleges he used abusive language when he did not, and other officers repeat that claim without checking the available footage, while threats of arrest are used to pressure him into giving his details. The moment they achieve that goal, everything else falls away, which shows this was not a simple disagreement but a misuse of authority. When decisions are made based on assumption and evidence is pushed aside, the only place left to properly address it is in court. When News Now Yorkshire requests caller numbers, the response shifts to dismissal as officers suddenly claim they are too busy to provide a basic detail that allows accountability. Just minutes earlier, time was not a concern when they were stopping him, questioning him, and applying pressure to obtain his information, which highlights a clear contrast in priorities. They act quickly when seeking details, yet become unavailable when accountability is requested in return, and that imbalance stands out. Footage that could resolve the situation is ignored, while identification that could support a complaint is treated as unnecessary. The pattern is clear as they escalate quickly, rely on pressure, introduce questionable claims, and continue until compliance is secured, then disengage without follow-up. No action is taken, no offense is pursued, and no interest remains, which reveals the true nature of the encounter. If this had involved a genuine concern, it would not have ended the moment they achieved their objective. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to support continued coverage that keeps accountability in focus. I am the Audit Assessor, and this was episode 11, and there will be more to come as these situations continue to unfold.